Marge Selbee was the kind of man who found joy in the simple, yet profound patterns of life. After dedicating decades of his life to working at a small-town cereal packaging company, he reached the milestone many dream of: retirement. But for Jerry, retirement wasn't just about slowing down, it was a chance to explore new possibilities. Together with his wife, Marge, he moved into a cozy Michigan home, where the couple settled into a tranquil daily rhythm. Their life seemed idyllic. Mornings started with the scent of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the house, accompanied by the soft hum of a local radio station. They would sit on their porch, reminiscing about the past and sharing quiet moments of contentment. Weekends often meant visits from their grandchildren, whose laughter echoed through the home, filling it with warmth and happiness. Yet, despite the calm routine, Jerry's mind was far from idle. While others might embrace hobbies like gardening, fishing, or golfing, Jerry thrived on intellectual challenges. He was a man who couldn't sit still, not mentally at least. Beneath his quiet exterior was a mind constantly churning, seeking the next problem to solve. Jerry was not what you would call a conventional genius. He didn't have degrees from prestigious universities or a background in theoretical science. Instead, he possessed something more practical, a natural talent for seeing patterns in chaos. Throughout his life, he had been the kind of person who could make sense of randomness, whether it was organizing complex data or solving puzzles that left others scratching their heads. This knack for numbers and patterns was something that defined Jerry from a young age. In his early years, it had been a source of amusement, earning him admiration from friends and colleagues. But Jerry had always been modest about his abilities, treating them as just another part of who he was. What he didn't know was that this unassuming gift would one day lead him to something extraordinary. While most retirees looked forward to a slower pace of life, Jerry's passion for problem-solving only intensified. He found joy in everyday challenges, whether it was balancing the family budget, solving crosswords, or tinkering with small mathematical puzzles he'd come across in books and magazines. To Jerry, numbers weren't just abstract figures. They were a language that held secrets, waiting to be uncovered. One fateful afternoon, while running errands in town, Jerry stopped by a local convenience store. As he waited in line to buy a snack, his eyes wandered to a rack of brochures promoting various state lottery games. One particular flyer caught his attention. It advertised a lottery game called Winfall. The brightly colored leaflet seemed no different from others, but for Jerry, the details jumped off the page. Unlike traditional lottery games, which rolled over unclaimed jackpots to the next draw, Winfall operated under a unique rule. If the jackpot reached $5 million and no one won, the prize money would roll down. This meant that instead of growing larger, the jackpot would be redistributed to lower-tier prizes, such as matching 4 or 5 numbers. For Jerry, this small detail wasn't just a rule, it was an opportunity. Intrigued, Jerry took the flyer home and began to study it. What started as casual curiosity quickly turned into an obsession. He pored over the game's rules, breaking them down into mathematical models. He calculated probabilities, studied payout structures, and ran countless simulations in his mind. The more he analyzed, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a game. It was a solvable puzzle. The concept of the roll-down feature fascinated Jerry. Most players only bought a handful of tickets, hoping for a life-changing win. But during a roll-down week, the odds shifted dramatically. Lower-tier prizes became disproportionately valuable, creating a sweet spot where buying tickets in bulk could almost guarantee a profit. To Jerry, it was like finding a golden thread in a haystack of randomness. At first, he tested his theories on paper, using hypothetical scenarios to refine his calculations. He envisioned scenarios where different combinations of numbers and investment amounts could maximize returns. After weeks of study, he realized he had cracked the code. By strategically investing during roll-down weeks, it was possible to make consistent gains, legally and methodically. Jerry wasn't one to act impulsively. He spent days, perhaps weeks, double-checking his calculations. What if he was wrong? What if the strategy didn't work in practice? These questions lingered in his mind, but deep down, he knew he was onto something groundbreaking. When he finally shared his findings with Marge, her reaction was a mixture of amusement and disbelief. You mean to tell me you've solved the lottery? She asked with a laugh. But Jerry's serious expression told her he wasn't joking. He walked her through his calculations, explaining how the roll-down feature created an exploitable advantage. By the end of his explanation, Marge wasn't just convinced, she was intrigued. Marge had always been Jerry's greatest supporter. While she didn't share his passion for numbers, she admired his determination and intellect. Together, they decided to put his theory to the test. It wasn't just about the money. It was about the thrill of solving a problem no one else had noticed. The first roll-down week approached, and Jerry prepared meticulously. He mapped out how many tickets they could afford, which stores to buy them from, and how to track their purchases. On the day of the draw, the couple sat together holding their breath as the results were announced. When they checked their tickets, the outcome was beyond anything they could have imagined. Not only had they recouped their investment, but they had also made a modest profit. Jerry's calculations had been spot on. It was a small victory, but it validated everything he had worked for. For Jerry and Marge, this was just the beginning. They had discovered something extraordinary, a way to turn their love of puzzles and numbers into something tangible. What lay ahead was a journey that would redefine their retirement and prove that sometimes the biggest opportunities come from the simplest ideas. Jerry Selbee was no stranger to ambition, but even he knew this plan was unlike anything he had ever attempted before. After countless hours of poring over calculations, studying the rules of the Winfall lottery, and simulating outcomes, he had finally arrived at a conclusion. The roll-down mechanism was a loophole waiting to be exploited. For most people, the lottery was a game of chance. For Jerry, it was now a game of strategy and numbers, a game he could win. When Jerry first approached Marge with his findings, her reaction was mixed. She loved and trusted her husband, but the idea of investing thousands of dollars into lottery tickets seemed, at best, risky, and, at worst, completely absurd. She listened carefully as Jerry explained the roll-down system in detail, walking her through his mathematical calculations and showing how the odds were stacked in their favor during these special weeks. Marge, ever the pragmatist, asked the hard questions. What if you're wrong? What if we lose everything we put in? Is this even legal? Jerry, with his calm and measured demeanor, reassured her. The math doesn't lie, Marge. This isn't about luck, it's about the numbers. And yes, it's completely legal. We're just playing by the rules, but smarter than anyone else. Convinced by his unwavering confidence and meticulous preparation, Marge agreed to give it a try. Together, they sketched out the beginnings of a plan. This wasn't going to be a casual endeavor. If they were going to do this, they would do it with precision. Jerry calculated the exact amount of money they needed to invest to maximize their returns without taking on too much risk. Marge, the organizer of the duo, started thinking about the logistics, where to buy the tickets, how to track them, and how to handle the sheer volume of work involved. It quickly became apparent that this was not a job for two people alone. The scale of their operation required more hands, more minds, and more energy. Jerry and Marge began reaching out to their trusted inner circle, friends and family members who they knew would be discreet and reliable. We can't do this without help, Jerry explained to Marge one evening. If we're going to manage thousands of tickets, we need a team. Their kitchen, once a quiet space for family dinners, was transformed into a bustling command center. The dining table was buried under stacks of lottery tickets, spreadsheets, notebooks, and calculators. The walls were soon covered with makeshift charts and diagrams detailing their progress and strategies. It wasn't glamorous, but it was efficient. Each member of the team was assigned a specific role. Jerry remained the mastermind, continually refining their strategy and overseeing the financial calculations. Marge became the logistics manager, coordinating trips to various stores to purchase tickets and ensuring that the team had everything they needed. Other team members were tasked with buying tickets, organizing them by serial numbers, and checking them against the winning numbers after each draw. It was a labor-intensive process, but the team approached it with a sense of purpose and even a bit of fun. Their operation wasn't without its quirks. Marge often joked about how suspicious they must have looked walking into stores and buying hundreds, sometimes thousands, of tickets at once. I half expected the clerks to call the police on us, she laughed later. But in reality, most store employees were simply curious, asking questions like, "What on earth are you planning to do with all these tickets?" The Selbies always gave vague but polite answers, careful not to reveal too much about their strategy. The day of their first roll-down week arrived, and the atmosphere in the Selbee household was electric. Jerry and Marge had pooled $8,000 of their savings, an amount that felt both thrilling and terrifying. "This is it," Jerry said, his voice steady but his hands slightly trembling. "If this works, it'll change everything. If not—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. They spent hours buying tickets from multiple locations, ensuring they spread their purchases across various outlets to avoid suspicion. By the time they returned home, their car was filled with lottery tickets, and the reality of their undertaking hit them. They had invested a significant portion of their savings into a plan that, until now, only existed in Jerry's head. The following days were a blur of activity. The team worked tirelessly to sort the tickets, carefully recording each one in a detailed spreadsheet. The tension in the air was palpable as they awaited the results of the draw. When the winning numbers were finally announced, the room fell silent. Jerry and Marge sat side by side, going through the tickets one by one, marking winners and tallying their earnings. Hours later, when the dust settled, the numbers were clear. They had doubled their investment. The $8,000 they had spent had turned into $16,000. It wasn't just a profit, it was proof. Jerry's calculations had been correct, and the system worked. For Jerry, the win was a validation of everything he had believed in. It wasn't about the money, though that was certainly a welcome bonus. It was about the thrill of solving a problem and seeing his strategy come to life. For Marge, the win was a mixture of relief and excitement. She had trusted Jerry, and he had delivered. After their first big win, the Selbies' operation took on a new energy. The team's initial skepticism melted away, replaced by enthusiasm and trust in Jerry's leadership. They realized that this wasn't just a gamble. It was a carefully calculated strategy that had the potential to change their lives. With each roll-down week that followed, the Selbies refined their process. They learned to work faster, more efficiently, and with greater precision. Jerry continued to analyze the game's mechanics, looking for ways to further optimize their approach. Marge became the heart of the operation, keeping morale high and ensuring that every detail was accounted for. What started as Jerry's personal project soon became a family affair. The Selbies' children and grandchildren often stopped by to lend a hand, fascinated by the sheer scale of the operation. "Grandpa's playing the lottery," one of their grandchildren joked, "but he's doing it like a scientist." For the Selbies, the project wasn't just about money. It was about the sense of purpose and camaraderie it brought into their lives. Their kitchen, once a quiet space for morning coffee and crossword puzzles, had become the beating heart of a remarkable journey. And while they didn't know it yet, this was only the beginning. The Selbies' first success was more than just a validation of Jerry's mathematical acumen. It was a spark that ignited their ambition. Encouraged by their initial win, Jerry and Marge began to realize the true potential of their strategy. If a single roll-down week could double their investment, what could be achieved with more capital, more tickets, and a larger team? They decided to take their operation to the next level. Pooling resources became their first step. Jerry and Marge approached friends and family members they trusted implicitly. They presented their findings not as a gamble, but as a carefully calculated opportunity. "This isn't about luck," Jerry would explain. "It's about the math. The system works, and we've proven it." While some were skeptical, others were intrigued. The idea of participating in something both legal and profitable was too tempting to resist. Their growing network of contributors essentially became a lottery syndicate. Together, they pooled their money, allowing Jerry and Marge to purchase thousands more tickets than they ever could on their own. This increase in scale wasn't just about buying power. It was about control. By purchasing a significant percentage of the tickets in circulation, they could tilt the odds further in their favor, ensuring consistent returns. With the influx of funds, Jerry and Marge had to rethink their logistics. Managing tens of thousands of tickets wasn't something they could do haphazardly. They developed a streamlined system for buying, organizing, and processing tickets. Jerry's meticulous nature was evident in every detail, from how tickets were sorted to how winning numbers were cross-referenced. Marge, with her knack for coordination, ensured that every member of their team knew their role and stayed on track. What could have been a mundane, transactional process became something extraordinary in the Selbee household. Their home, once a quiet haven for their retirement, transformed into a lively hub of activity. During roll-down weeks, the atmosphere was electric. The kitchen buzzed with the hum of calculators, the shuffle of paper tickets, and the steady murmur of conversations. Mornings started early, with Jerry briefing the team on their tasks for the day. "We've got a lot to get through," he'd say, his tone equal parts serious and enthusiastic. Marge kept the operation running smoothly, ensuring there was always coffee brewing and snacks on hand. Despite the intensity of their work, the atmosphere remained light-hearted. Laughter often filled the room as the team shared jokes or teased Jerry about his mad scientist approach to the lottery. For Jerry, the thrill lay in the numbers. Each ticket represented a possibility, a piece of a larger puzzle he was determined to solve. He loved the challenge of refining their process, finding ways to optimize their efficiency and minimize errors. For Marge, the joy was in the teamwork. She cherished the sense of purpose the project brought, not just for her and Jerry, but for everyone involved. It turned their retirement into an adventure, a shared goal that brought them closer together. Their operation wasn't just a business, it was a community. Friends and family members who joined their team didn't just contribute funds, they contributed their time, energy, and enthusiasm. Jerry and Marge became leaders in this small yet determined group, fostering a sense of camaraderie that extended beyond the lottery. They were no longer just a retired couple. They were the heart of a movement. Each roll-down week brought new challenges, but also new victories. The Selbees began investing larger amounts, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars at a time. The returns were staggering, with profits often doubling or tripling their initial investment. Jerry's confidence in his system grew with each success, but he never allowed complacency to set in. He constantly revisited his calculations, ensuring that no variable was overlooked. Marge became the voice of reason in their partnership, often reminding Jerry to take breaks or step back when he became too engrossed in the details. "The numbers will still be there tomorrow," she'd say with a smile, handing him a cup of coffee. Her grounded perspective balanced Jerry's intensity, creating a dynamic that allowed their operation to thrive. As the scale of their operation grew, so did the attention it attracted. Store clerks who once greeted the Selbees with polite indifference began to notice their peculiar habits. "You're back again?" one clerk joked as Jerry loaded another stack of tickets onto the counter. Others were less amused. Some whispered among themselves, wondering what the Selbees were up to. Rumors began to spread in their small Michigan town. People speculated about why the couple was buying so many tickets. Were they lottery addicts? Were they laundering money? The truth, of course, was far simpler, but also far more ingenious. Jerry and Marge knew they had nothing to hide, but they remained tight-lipped about their strategy. The fewer people who understood the roll-down loophole, the better. The Michigan State Lottery itself began to take notice. Auditors conducted routine checks to ensure that everything was above board. Jerry welcomed the scrutiny, confident that their operation was entirely legal. "We're just playing by the rules," he told Marge after one such audit. "We're not doing anything wrong." The auditors couldn't argue. Jerry and Marge were exploiting a quirk in the system, but they weren't breaking any laws. Despite the mounting attention, the Selbees refused to let outside opinions deter them. "Let people think what they want," Marge said one evening as they reviewed their latest batch of tickets. "We know what we're doing, and that's all that matters." By now, the Selbees' operation had reached a level of efficiency that was nothing short of remarkable. They had streamlined every aspect of their process, from purchasing tickets to verifying results. Jerry's spreadsheets became legendary among their team, each one meticulously organized to track every ticket, every number, and every outcome. Their winnings weren't just numbers on a page, they were tangible. With their profits, Jerry and Marge were able to pay off debts, support their children and grandchildren, and even give back to their community. They donated to local charities, funded scholarships, and helped friends in need. For them, the money was never about luxury. It was about security, freedom, and the ability to make a difference. But with success came challenges. As their winnings grew, so did the complexity of managing their operation. Taxes had to be calculated, winnings had to be distributed, and new strategies had to be devised to stay ahead of the competition. Jerry thrived on these challenges, viewing each one as another puzzle to solve. Marge, ever the practical partner, ensured that their team stayed organized and focused. Looking back, Jerry and Marge often marveled at how far they had come. What started as a single roll-down experiment had grown into a million-dollar operation, fueled by ingenuity, teamwork, and a shared belief in the power of numbers. Their story wasn't just about winning the lottery. It was about redefining what was possible, even in retirement. For Jerry, the true reward wasn't the money. It was the satisfaction of proving that his calculations were correct, that his strategy worked, and that he could solve a problem others hadn't even noticed. For Marge, the joy came from the journey itself, from the laughter, the teamwork, and the memories they created along the way. By this point, Jerry and Marge Selbee had transformed their once humble operation into a financial powerhouse. Their lottery syndicate was winning millions, fueled by Jerry's genius calculations and Marge's impeccable organizational skills. But success on this scale came with enormous risks. One of the most pivotal moments in their journey occurred during a particularly high-stakes roll-down week. Jerry's calculations indicated an unprecedented opportunity. If they invested enough, their returns could be astronomical. The catch? To maximize their chances, they would need to put nearly $500,000 into the game. It was a staggering sum, even for them. The money wasn't just theirs, it included contributions from their friends, family, and syndicate members. If Jerry's calculations were off, even by the smallest margin, the consequences could be catastrophic. The days leading up to the draw were filled with tension. Jerry spent sleepless nights double and triple checking his math. His spreadsheets were packed with rows and columns of probabilities, potential payouts, and risk assessments. Marge, as always, was by his side, offering encouragement while quietly managing her own anxieties. On the day of the draw, their operation was in full swing. Team members worked around the clock, purchasing tickets, sorting them, and preparing for the results. The atmosphere in the Selbee household was electric, a mix of excitement, fear, and unwavering determination. When the numbers were finally announced, the room erupted in cheers. Jerry's calculations had once again proven flawless. Their $500,000 investment had yielded millions in returns. For Jerry, it wasn't just a financial victory. It was a validation of everything he had worked toward. For Marge, it was a profound relief, a testament to the trust she had placed in her husband's abilities. But the victory wasn't just about the money. It marked a turning point in their journey, solidifying their status as master strategists and redefining what was possible through sheer ingenuity. Success on this scale was impossible to keep under wraps. Word of the Selbees' incredible winnings began to spread, attracting the attention of local journalists. At first, the coverage was positive, even celebratory. Headlines like, "Retired couple cracks the lottery code," and "Small-town geniuses turn numbers into millions," painted Jerry and Marge as modern-day folk heroes. But as their story gained traction, the tone began to shift. Some journalists and commentators accused them of exploiting the system, claiming their strategy was unethical, even if it was legal. Critics argued that the roll-down mechanism was meant to benefit everyday players, not sophisticated syndicates. Jerry and Marge, however, saw things differently. "The rules were there for everyone," Jerry explained in an interview. "We didn't cheat. We didn't break the law. We just played smarter." His words were both a defense and a declaration of pride. To the Selbees, their success wasn't about luck or manipulation. It was about seeing an opportunity where others didn't and having the courage to act on it. Marge echoed her husband's sentiments, though with a softer touch. "We never meant to hurt anyone," she said. We just found a way to make the system work for us. It wasn't about greed. It was about solving a puzzle. Despite their explanations, the scrutiny took a toll. Friends and neighbors who once admired their ingenuity began to question their motives. Some accused them of taking advantage of a system meant for the average player. Others, however, continued to support them, recognizing the brilliance of their approach. As the Selbees' story spread, it didn't just attract attention, it inspired imitation. Other groups began studying the roll-down mechanism, hoping to replicate the Selbees' success. This new wave of competition posed a significant challenge. Roll-down weeks became increasingly crowded, with multiple syndicates vying for a share of the prize pool. The once predictable dynamics of the game grew more complex, forcing Jerry to adapt his strategy. Jerry thrived on the challenge. "Competition makes us better," he told Marge one evening. "It's just another puzzle to solve." He began analyzing not just the game itself, but also the behavior of other players. How many tickets were they buying? Which stores were they targeting? What patterns could he discern from their actions? Marge, meanwhile, focused on keeping their operation running smoothly amidst the chaos. With more players in the mix, it became harder to secure large volumes of tickets. She coordinated with their team to visit a wider range of stores, ensuring they stayed ahead of the competition. Her calm, steady presence was a counterbalance to Jerry's analytical intensity. Despite the increased competition, the Selbees continued to thrive. They refined their approach, staying one step ahead of their rivals. But the game was changing, and they knew it wouldn't last forever. Through it all, Jerry and Marge remained grounded. While their winnings brought financial security, they never let the money define them. They continued to live modestly, focusing on the relationships and experiences that mattered most. Their syndicate members became like family, bonded by shared victories and the occasional setback. Team meetings often felt more like social gatherings, filled with laughter, stories, and a shared sense of purpose. Jerry and Marge's humility and generosity set the tone, reminding everyone that their success was a collective effort. At the same time, the Selbees used their winnings to give back to their community. They donated to local charities, supported educational initiatives, and helped friends in need. For them, the money wasn't just a reward, it was a responsibility. As the Selbees navigated the challenges of increased competition and public scrutiny, they began to sense that their journey was approaching a crossroads. The Michigan State Lottery, under pressure from critics and facing growing complexities, started considering changes to the roll-down mechanism. Jerry and Marge knew that their window of opportunity was closing, but instead of dwelling on the uncertainty, they focused on making the most of the time they had left. Each roll-down week became a chance to refine their strategy, strengthen their team, and celebrate the incredible journey they had undertaken. Looking back, Jerry often reflected on how far they had come. "It started as an experiment," he mused, "but it became so much more. It was never just about the money, it was about the challenge, the teamwork, and the adventure." Marge, as always, had the final word. "Life doesn't always give you second chances," she said. "But when it does, you take them, and you make them count." By the time the Michigan State Lottery announced the discontinuation of the Winfall game, Jerry and Marge Selbee had already cemented their legacy as pioneers of mathematical strategy. The decision to end the game didn't come as a complete surprise. The growing attention around the Selbees and other syndicates had put pressure on the lottery organizers. The system wasn't broken, but it had become too transparent, too solvable. For Jerry, the announcement felt like the inevitable conclusion to a remarkable chapter of their lives. When the final roll-down week was announced, the Selbees approached it with a mixture of nostalgia and determination. Jerry, ever the meticulous planner, ensured their operation ran smoothly until the very end. Marge, as always, brought her warmth and energy to the team, reminding everyone to savor the moment. It wasn't just another week of ticket sorting and calculations. It was a celebration of everything they had achieved. The last draw came and went, marking the official end of their journey with Winfall. As they sat together in their now iconic kitchen, Jerry and Marge reflected on the years they had spent turning a simple lottery game into a life-changing opportunity. "We didn't just play a game," Jerry said. "We built something together, something meaningful." For Marge, the end of Winfall wasn't a loss. It was a testament to their ability to see beyond the ordinary. "It's bittersweet," she admitted, "but we'll always have the memories, and what memories they are." With their winnings, the Selbees achieved a level of financial security that allowed them to live comfortably while making a difference in the lives of others. Yet they remained grounded, choosing a path of purpose over extravagance. Their modest lifestyle remained largely unchanged, a reflection of their values and the small-town roots that defined them. One of their first priorities was ensuring the well-being of their family. They helped pay for their grandchildren's education, providing them with opportunities that might not have been possible otherwise. "Education is the best gift we can give them," Marge often said. "It's something no one can ever take away." Jerry and Marge also used their winnings to support local charities and community projects. They donated to food banks, funded scholarships for underprivileged students, and contributed to the restoration of local landmarks. For the Selbees, their success wasn't just about what they could gain. It was about what they could give back. "We've been so fortunate," Jerry explained. "It's only right that we share that fortune with others." Beyond financial contributions, the Selbees became role models in their community. Their story inspired others to think differently, to look for opportunities in unexpected places, and to believe in the power of determination. Friends and neighbors often sought their advice, not just about finances, but about life. "How did you stay so grounded?" one neighbor asked. Marge's answer was simple. "Because it was never just about the money. It was about doing something we believed in." The years of playing Winfall left the Selbees with a treasure trove of stories. There was the time they drove hundreds of miles to buy tickets from remote stores, only to get stuck in a snowstorm. Or the night their team worked until dawn, fueled by coffee and determination, to sort through tens of thousands of tickets before a deadline. These moments, filled with both chaos and camaraderie, became cherished memories. Jerry often marveled at how their retirement had unfolded. "I never imagined I'd spend my golden years running a lottery operation," he joked. But beneath the humor was a deep sense of pride. Jerry's ability to turn a game into a science, combined with Marge's organizational brilliance, had created something truly extraordinary. For Marge, the journey was about more than just strategy and numbers. It was about the people they met along the way. Store clerks who became curious friends, team members who became like family, and even journalists who came to understand the heart of their story. "It wasn't just about us," Marge said. "It was about everyone who believed in what we were doing." As the years passed, Jerry and Marge's story took on a life of its own. Articles, interviews, and documentaries chronicled their journey, turning them into unlikely celebrities. People from around the world reached out to them, sharing how their story had inspired them to think differently about life's possibilities. For Jerry, the attention was humbling. "I never set out to be famous," he said. "I just saw a problem and wanted to solve it." But he also recognized the power of their story to motivate others. If our journey shows people that they can achieve something extraordinary, then it's all been worth it. Marge, ever the optimist, saw their story as a reminder of the importance of faith and perseverance. "We didn't know where this path would lead," she said, "but we trusted each other, and we trusted the process. That's what made all the difference." The Selbees' legacy isn't just about the millions they won. It's about the lessons they taught through their actions. Their story is a testament to the power of intellect, teamwork, and the willingness to take calculated risks. It's a reminder that life's greatest opportunities often lie in the most unexpected places. Even after the end of Winfall, Jerry and Marge continued to inspire those around them. They became advocates for lifelong learning, encouraging others to pursue their passions and never stop seeking answers. "It's never too late to learn something new," Jerry often said. "You never know where it might lead." Their journey also highlighted the importance of partnership. Jerry and Marge's success was built on trust, collaboration, and mutual respect. Together, they turned what could have been an ordinary retirement into an extraordinary adventure. As they entered their later years, Jerry and Marge remained as active and engaged as ever. They spent their days enjoying the simple pleasures of life, time with family, quiet moments on their porch, and the occasional crossword puzzle that Jerry couldn't resist. But their legacy continued to ripple outward, touching lives in ways they could never have imagined. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that the greatest adventures often begin with a single step. For Jerry and Marge, that step was buying a lottery ticket, not out of hope but out of curiosity. From that simple act grew a journey that redefined their lives and inspired countless others. In the end, the Selbees proved that success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about how you achieve it. Their story is one of ingenuity, resilience, and the belief that even the most unlikely dreams can become reality with the right combination of effort and imagination.